found out that you can make your own custom car air fresheners using your own pictures. This was quite intriguing, so I thought that I would experiment with some pictures that I had developed from my film. This print was clearly messed up already, so it didn't matter if it didn't work out. Now, you're supposed to have some kind of like hot press thingy-majig, but I just don't want to buy stuff, so I thought, well, why not use my iron? And I like watched these tutorials and figured out, well, I can use brown paper, maybe my iron, and see what happens. Literally, that was a bust. So I decided to go downtown with my kiddos and shoot some film of the old buildings. We took a little side quest and went shopping, and my daughter decided to buy me a gift.
Hopefully you like the present.
I don't know who she's talking about because she ain't never met nobody. She's just got a weird sense of humor. The next day I sat down to develop my film and realized that something was very, very wrong. I had literally chopped up the film inside, and I don't know how. It was a very sad moment. I did get to develop some. We'll get into that here right now. But a lot of it is missing. One thing that I love about developing film is that it challenges me to be precise. I am a very unruly, off-the-wall kind of person, and I'm not much of a perfectionist. And it really teaches me to slow down and be accurate, because if your temperature's off, if your chemicals are off, the whole thing's gonna be off and you can't fix it again. You mess up a roll of film, you can't get it back. I don't know how to explain to you what exactly I was gonna be doing with these pictures, so I saw some inspiration where somebody had macrame'd kind of like a little holder for their Polaroid pictures for their air freshener. I ain't never macrame'd a darn thing in my entire life, so this was me constantly going back, pausing, playing a YouTube video, trying to figure this out. You think that it's just tying some knots, but apparently some's got to go over, some's got to go under. There's a whole science. I don't know. These little bead thingies are to put some essential oils on, and that's where you get your actual air freshener part of the air freshener. But they stressed me out, y'all. They stressed me out to the heavens. A little hack so that you don't break out in hives like I almost did. Just use tweezers. I only have 8x10 printing paper, so I had to kind of figure out how to get the size right. So I cut up my 8x10 paper to fit this business card lanyard thingy-majig. And honestly, I'm gonna start doing that from now on for my test print so I don't waste so much paper, because as you can see in this picture, a lot of this stuff lately is not coming out. Look at it, just getting straight dark. I tweaked some things around so that the pictures would develop a little differently, but at the end of the day, I realized that, you know what, I think that I mixed some of the chemicals from the other trays into my developer, so I decided to redo my developer, and I should wear gloves. You know, I think that's a really good idea. Remember when I said I live my life a little willy-nilly? Sometimes I agree that I could be a little too optimistic, like I just always think everything's gonna work out just fine. No, my hands aren't gonna disintegrate one day after basically bathing in chemicals for hours at a time. I'm a lucky girl. How's that song go? After a lot of trial and error, I did finally get the pictures printed. However, I realized, you know, my film is over a decade old. I had this film when I did photography back in college, so I should probably stop being cheap and get actually film that's not expired. Random fact, I am a laminating fiend, especially with 4-leaf clovers. I have this obsession with 4-leaf clovers, and every time I find one, I laminate it and I turn it into a bookmark, and I put the date on each one of when I found them, and they each have their own story. One time I actually found a 4-leaf clover and a 5-leaf clover right next to each other, but apparently the 5-leaf ones are bad luck. But again, I'm optimistic. That you can't tell me that I don't believe it. Now, my mom's cat had 6 toes, just like Ernest Hemingway's cats, and she also named her Hemi. But it wasn't because of Ernest Hemingway, it was because of her last name. But I feel like that was an extra lucky cat because I love Ernest Hemingway, and I love my mom, and I love peculiar things like 5-leaf clovers and 6-toed cats. Oh my gosh, did you make it to the end? I think that means that we're best friends now, because we definitely endured a lot together. Gonna have to come up with a new contraption for this, because it wouldn't fit around my rearview mirror. I had to untie it and tie it again. But in the future, I'm gonna make non-expired film. I'm gonna do a little better with my macrame, because that looks a little cray. But this was such a fun project to do.